I like to think that I can watch a trailer. I like to hope that I've developed the skill as a media watcher of video game media. I like to think I can watch a trailer and be like, that one of those games. Okay, I see what you're doing.
Right.
I've seen several trailers
Right.
for the game that you were about to describe, and I don't know what's happening. I don't know. I like what I'm seeing.
Right.
I'm just not sure what I'm seeing.
Okay, well, the Senran Kagura series is about ninja girls with powers and ninja powers and gratuitous assets of the feminine type.
I'm with you now. I'm with you
Yeah.
up until this point.
Right.
And now there's cooking somehow.
And for some reason, because the next logical step from ninjas is cooking, you get a game called Senran Kagura Bon Appetit.
Because Cookie Mom is just not sexy enough, you know?
Cookie Ma definitely doesn't have like that Bing ability, as Kyle would say. Yeah, it doesn't have
So
that.
if you can make a nice dish and gets boobs in your face,
Yeah.
that's an extra win.
It really is, I guess. I mean, that's what the game has been preaching to me nonstop. It's not a bad game. I enjoyed this game a lot, surprisingly. If there's one word or two words for it, it's gluttonous and gratuitous.
Okay.
Because it's definitely more on the latter part of that, because it's definitely gratuitous. The rhythm portion of it isn't the best. I wouldn't say it's not your Rock Band or your DDR or
Right.
Or I guess even your Miku Diva games, but it sometimes gets very complicated, and the music isn't necessarily the greatest, but it's kind of like that J-pop tune that you can like get behind when you see like cute anime girls like cooking up stuff. The thing that the Senran series really has the advantage, even though it is sort of very gratuitous and very boobly, is the fact that it is very lighthearted and fun and is ridiculous. They don't pull the stops in this game of like the other Senran Kagura games are ridiculous, yes, but somehow grounded, it seems, compared to this game. Yeah.
So it's kind of like Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball, and that it's just like, yeah, these characters you like, but just doing completely zany stuff. I'm assuming mostly mini-game focused. Not mini-game, but like, there's no fighting in this game.
No, it's all rhythm. It's all rhythm. So,
all rhythm, okay.
Yeah,
and that's how you cook?
You have different controls. You have the circle pad, and then you have all of the buttons. And so there's 2 bars, and one bar represents taste and one represents size.
Okay.
So the cooking mechanic is that we have to balance between the two. And so one bar will have directional and buttons, and they're all mixed up. So sometimes it's really more of a, not necessarily you pressing it to the rhythm, but really more of your eyes being able to sync up to what is going to happen.
Okay.
Because you have to check both the bars. You can't just check one line and another line. There's no option for that. So sometimes you'll have to do doubles and then switch over to another set of doubles, and that creates sort of the rhythm portion of it. And it gets pretty complicated. I was really surprised. There were just some levels I just couldn't even beat. I'm pretty decent at rhythm games, but there's something about having to switch from X left and pressing those at the same time, and then circle right afterwards just totally like messes with my brain. So that portion of it, surprisingly really good, and it's a super cheap game, and for the price they give you so much.
Are you done with it?
I'm not done with it because there's so much to do. They give you, so in story mode, they give you 10 ninjas. And in the story mode, you can pick a character, and that person goes through about 5 different rounds against these other ninja girls. Now, obviously, you're like, where did the boobies come in? Well, the boobies come in like right from the start.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, I know, because I'm like talking about the gameplay, but everyone just wants to know about the boobies because that's all they advertise anyway. So you cook as you're cooking. The judge, which is Hanzo Hattori, which is one of the main like old ninja characters. He's like the chairman of the Iron Chef competition, the super dish competition they call it. And so you have to please him with your dish, and he eats it, and it's so good, this beam of light just comes out of his face and rips off your opponent's clothes. Slowly, obviously. And, and so this happens, there's 3 different segments to each ninja portion. And the second part, more clothes rip off, and they're kind of bare bones. And if you do very well, if you get to like a perfect or around the very superior segments in each one, then they get all their clothes blow off. Which in the other Senran Kagura game, it was kind of hard to pull off because you have to get a perfect combo, or you have to defeat them in a perfect way, and then all their clothes blow off. But this one, they're just like, let the clothes blow off. It's fine, whatever. And so it's...
Your ex Benedict was passable.
Yeah, exactly.
She's naked.
And all of her clothes fall off. I'm like, oh, I'm a failure. But it's still very censored. So there's like this bright yellow bar that goes over the naughty bits, and then just like 2 little like cute faces over the boobs, which is fine with me. It's just even that much, when I saw like how far it went, I was like, this is a lot. It's a lot to take in. But it's very lighthearted. Once again, it's super zany. They like using puns all the time. And there's like these really funny animations at the end when you create the dish, and it's like he eats it and he goes into another world and has like this whole crazy experience, right? Like he's on like some LSD trip and just goes through like a spirit walk or whatever. And there's like different kinds for different foods, and it's all it's funny. It's a funny game. I would have to
Because you're
say.
discovering new things. And that's what you want. I mean, that's like one way to get people to play. I mean, you know, boobs is one.
Boobs is one.
Bright colors, another.
Yeah.
Lots of crazy things flashing at you.
Totally.
You know, yet another. But actually, like, you feel that you want to do well because it unlocks a nice visual reward.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
want to keep persisting in the game because what other crazy thing are they going to add to this? So it seems like a
Absolutely.
silly idea, but it's like, man, if I'm enjoying myself, if the stuff I'm unlocking is entertaining.
It's absolutely that. They have a very good, like Senran has a very good idea of what people want in games like that. I mean, it's an ecchi game, which is kind of like very perverted, and I understand that, clearly.
That's why you gravitated towards it naturally.
I mean, you look at the trailers, you're like, this is so ridiculous. There's no way they're gonna bring this to America. Oh, there it is. Here, it's in my hand. I have to play it. There's just no way that I'm not going to. But they do a really good thing of rewarding the player for playing your game. Every time you beat something, you unlock different costumes. And in the cinematics, when you fight them randomly, again, as a different character, they're still wearing those costumes. So it's Senran has this very good visual base that they persist through in each and every one of their games, and this is a very visual game. The rhythm portions are almost sort of secondary because the animation itself is so good. Like they put a lot of work into it. Also, there's some parts where if you get you level up this heart, and if you hit it through the timeline, the camera starts moving, and it just like starts moving through their boobs and their body, and it just like goes, and you're like, I'm really distracted right now. This is really hard to like. There's like too much to look at right now. So
It's like waving things at the guy making free throws. You know?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
Like, that's like the problem about like Rock Band and Guitar Heroes. The backgrounds are so pretty, and they put all this work into making these venues and stuff. Like I'm never looking at it because I'm just focusing on stuff. I never thought about that being a purposeful distraction.
Oh no, it's absolutely a purposeful distraction, and it works really well. It's a very good mechanic because I look at that and I'm like, I'm very distracted in my brain once again. If it wasn't hard enough to like press the 2 buttons at the right time, it's also like press the 2 buttons, but don't look at those boobs. And obviously animation is ridiculous, so it's like everywhere, everything is jiggly. Yeah. I would say one thing that is the most ridiculous about this game is that if you get a perfect victory, they call it, you unlock this little thing where it's kind of like a 3D statuette, right? Except that it's the girls that are totally dressed up as a dessert. And this is when I get to the point where I'm like, wow, this is a lot. You know, like there's a certain amount of like fan service that I can handle, and I watch a ton of anime, so that's a normal thing. And even I looked at it, I'm like, is this really necessary? And then of course the gyroscope works too, so you're like, okay, wow, they put a lot of thought into this. So it's a ridiculous game.
Don't underestimate this game. Is the end of the moral of the story.
Yeah, they put a lot of work into it. They put a lot of work into it, and I'm like really surprised. And they have another 10 characters that they haven't unlocked, which is all DLC. So.
Well, thank you for talking about it. Thank you for capturing the footage that we can use as B-roll, so we can bring boobies to the masses.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it, so this is like, it's a dire sacrifice on my part.
You may not learn a lot about music or food, but you'll learn a lot about yourself.
Yeah.
And how dirty you feel inside sometimes.
Sometimes. I'll live with it.